Robert Kirkman was grateful for The Walking Dead, but the day has come when he's not. Yesterday on Twitter, Robert Kirkman posted about issue 193, basically saying that this issue is going to have a lot of spoiler leaks and before its release. He said this issue is going to be a big issue in more ways than one. But what could possibly be bigger than Rick Grimes' death? Well, the leaks say this is the final ever issue of The Walking Dead. That with no build-up whatsoever, The Walking Dead comic series will just end. And at first I didn't believe it. We've seen about 2 to 3 preview covers for the next few issues, so it didn't really make sense until I saw issue 193. The pictures of this issue show it's thicker than other issues, and it is said to have 74 pages in, so it's likely all those future issues we saw covers for are just going to be put into this issue. Now, I don't really like talking about leaked stuff or spoilers for things that aren't out yet, so I haven't really looked at the actual pages inside of the comic itself, but I was sent the ending message in this comic. It looks to be in place of the questions we normally see at the end of an issue, and Robert Kirkman is basically saying he almost regrets doing The Walking Dead. But I obviously don't think he means the whole idea of The Walking Dead. I think he's talking about the whole Commonwealth and Rick Grimes storyline. The fact that Rick Grimes dies is such a big twist in the story, and it actually defeats what he was going for when he started this whole thing. When he first ever started The Walking Dead comics, I remember he actually said he wants The Walking Dead to just follow Rick Grimes. It's going to be a whole capsule to Rick Grimes' life. And now that Rick's character is dead, I can see how he's kind of defeated his own purpose. But the good side I see to this possibly being the last issue, it's really likely, is that this is just the close of the Grimes story. I mean, issue 192 kind of confirmed that anyway, that Rick Grimes' story is over, and because of how this all seems, it just seems really reckless. It seems like it's not really been thought into. I do feel like Robert Kirkman is just going to press reset on the comics. We did see in the preview covers that Negan is most probably going to come back. And so, although this is the last issue of The Walking Dead, it could be the very first of Negan's real story. The first thing I thought, though, when I saw that this could possibly be the last issue is Robert Kirkman trying something? Is this just going to be another joke? Is there a point in The Walking Dead comics that didn't actually happen? Or as some like to put it, the coma theory. With it ending this abruptly with no build-up whatsoever, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think it's that likely. I was meant to make a video about Rick Grimes' death in the comics. What do I think of this, and what do I think about Negan possibly taking the lead now? If you didn't know, issue 192, which only came out about a month ago now, Rick Grimes got killed off. It basically happened at the end of issue 191, and then in literal 2 pages in the next issue, he was completely finished. So what does this mean for the TV show? I think the TV show is completely fine. A while ago, the TV show just became its completely own thing. It's always done things differently, but The Walking Dead ending where it is now in the comics is going to leave the show with its own story, and I think it's going to be completely fine. By the time The Walking Dead has caught up with the comics, we would have had 2 spin-offs and 3 movies with Rick Grimes anyway. And I'm sure you've heard the showrunners say this before, but The Walking Dead is so early in its life cycle that I actually think the Commonwealth storyline is just not going to work. It's going to completely dim the show. So that's why the CRM were added way earlier, even before Rick Grimes left the show. And especially now that Rick has left, we know that we don't actually have to worry about certain events in the comics coming up in the show. So if you're worried about the show possibly ending around the times the comic will, I don't think you have anything to worry about at all. Especially with this movie trilogy that Rick Grimes is getting, it's meant to close the character's story and have quite a sci-fi feel to it, like Scott Gimple said. So whereas Robert Kirkman said he never really wanted to explore the idea of a cure, that's what I think the CRM are. I've got another really big theory video coming out soon. Just know that although a cure wouldn't really make sense, I do think the CRM want that. And so that's where the show and the comics differ. I think the show is going to become a lot more about the zombies and less about shock, which the comics have strongly gone gone off lately. Either way, don't forget we've got the Comic-Con panel on the 19th of July. That's just a couple of weeks away. And Robert Kirkman is going to shed some light on why he decided to end it or do what he's done. It is possible that this is just a joke or a stunt. That's what I thought at first, like I didn't feel like this could be true. Either way, it's very typical of Robert Kirkman to do this. So I don't know, we've just got to wait to hear what he's got to say. It's going to be really interesting. Before I ended this video, I did just want to quickly show you the new key art for The Walking Dead and the second half of Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. This is the key art for Season 10. I think it looks really good. I feel like Daryl though should have Rick's Python, because of course he is pretty much the leader of the show now, not just of the actual show in the universe, but as a role, he's like the leader now. But it does look really good. It just shows how much darker this season is going to be. I think how it needs to be. This picture alone shows how much better this will be than All Out War. They're not trying to set it up as some massive war only for it to turn out to be two men running around the tree. This picture alone is just telling us how it is. It's going to be an actual action-packed violent war, and the darker The Walking Dead is, the better. I think this is going to be probably the best season. I do feel like it's kind of going to miss out on its full potential because Rick Grimes isn't in it anymore, but it is what it is. I think it's going to be really good. It is really likely that Michonne will leave in the first half of this season too. And if you look at that red cross, that is Michonne's katana. The only thing I don't like about this is Carol. I do like Carol's character, but in this, it becomes annoying. I genuinely think she looks really bad in this picture because of that wig as well. Just a little bit forced. It does become a bit annoying, but like I said, I do like the character, but this picture just doesn't really do her justice. She's not some kind of incarnation of Link from The Legend of Zelda. She's just Carol, and I think the show should just let her develop normally without becoming Gandalf. And of course, the key art for the second half of Season 5, it looks really good, but I don't think we can really get anything from this. It's just going to be the same old, honestly. I don't really get why Alicia is constantly jumping from the sky every time we see her in these pictures, but I don't really have some problem with it. What's interesting to note is that Lucy Arna is right at the back, which is a bit odd to me. Characters like Grace and even Charlie are at the front, but she's kept behind, a bit like Nick was in the first half of Season 4. That's really interesting. I've always thought John or Lucy Arna or both will die in this season, so look out for that. Anyway, what do you think about all this news this week? What do you think of the key art for this season? What do you think about the comics most likely ending? I mean, it's pretty much confirmed at this point that this is the last big issue, and it's really sad. More importantly, what do you think? On the top right of your screen, there's going to be an eye icon. Just click or tap on that and let me know what you think. How do you feel about Robert Kirkman ending the series now? Do you think it was the right time to end it, or are you annoyed? I think we're all pretty sad, but maybe it was the right thing to do, or maybe he was just joking. Like I said, before we get angry at him or the comics for doing this, I do think we need to just wait to hear what he's got to say at Comic-Con. Maybe it's not what it seems, or maybe there's something behind the scenes that has gone on. Remember, one of his other comic series did get a movie deal. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But he has said before, stories are planned for ahead of time. It's really strange. Just let me know in the comments what you think. Talking of Comic-Con, I will be covering everything about it, all the trailers, all the details coming out from that, exactly at the time they come out. Remember, we're getting a Season 10 trailer, a Fear the Walking Dead second half trailer, and I believe we are going to get so much more about these Rick Grimes movies, with it almost being a year away from being released. So if you're subscribed with notifications on, you're not going to miss anything about Comic-Con. There's going to be so much, I'm just going to cover it all. Whenever there's details for the Rick Grimes movies, or of course Season 10, I will make sure you're the first to hear it. And if you're interested, the Breaking Bad movie for Jesse is possibly going to be discussed and talked about at Comic-Con, which is 19th of July, around that time. That's when the Walking Dead Comic-Cons are on, so it's really likely Breaking Bad will get one. If not, we are going to hear so much more about this movie. Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston, obviously the actors for Walt and Jesse, actually posted some teaser pictures on their Twitter about this, so I'm going to talk about this later on in the week. What's interesting is it's looking like it's going to be one full-length movie, and what is confirmed is it's going to just star Aaron Paul primarily, like he's the lead star, so it's likely it's going to be the sequel to Breaking Bad. It's what happened to Jesse after the finale. Jesse's story has actually been left on hold for about 6 years now. It was pretty much a cliffhanger, so I really can't wait to start covering that too. That's going to be a video later on this week, in fact, discussing what those teaser pictures actually mean, and of course what Bryan Cranston's part in the movie would be. Make sure you're subscribed so that you're the first to hear about all the new things coming out this July. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.